We're hearing a lot of that kind of language now, which is forget about trade, forget about trade. There's all these other big things we need to be careful of with China. David Solomon just said that. Would you agree?
Well, certainly. You know, China is an important country, second largest economy. But
a lot of people there, apparently.
A lot of people there, 1.4 billion. The point about China, though, is that the economy is extremely fragile. So, for instance, we get these really bad numbers, as you point out, which actually were a lot worse than what they reported. But let's put that aside for the moment. You have a stock market that's going up. Yesterday, we saw the so-called national team, the banks, the pension funds, the brokerages, all buying shares in the afternoon. And if you look at the
why do you say that?
Well, because it's clear that the remarkable patterns of stock trading, they're almost identical for the Shanghai Composite, the Shenzhen Composite, and the tech index, Chinext. And there are lots of reports about the government in their buying.
If we took all three or four of the major markets there, their index charts on an intraday basis, I mean a minute-by-minute tick, you say they all look the same.
Yes.
Basically, let's call it today in China.
Even the micro...
That's a little weird.
It's creepy and spooky, and we've seen this before. You know, clearly they're supporting the market. They also supported the renminbi yesterday. You know, it's going to a point where it's almost going to hit that magic 7 renminbi to 1 US dollar. That's psychological. When it breaks through that, all hell can occur. So right now, you know, the Chinese government's spending a lot of money to keep the markets and the currency stable, but at some point they've got to let that go. And when they let it go, you know, people like David Solomon are really going to be surprised.
Why do they have to let it go?
Well, eventually they're going to run out of money. They say that their foreign exchange...
Will they?
Yeah. Their foreign exchange...
Got a printing press, Gordon.
They do. Matter of fact, their M2, you know, is...
Money supply.
The broad gauge money supply is very, very big. You know, when you look at it, their M2 is almost twice as big as ours, although their economy is only 66% of ours. They've been printing a lot of money. They're sort of running out of the capacity to do that at some point. But, you know, when you look at all of this, they don't have as much in their foreign exchange reserves as they claim. They claimed $3.09 billion after the end of September. We know a lot of that is illiquid. We know that they've got forwards in there, which they're disguising, falls in their foreign exchange reserves. We just don't know.
And so you probably know who Kyle Bass is, very famous hedge fund manager, subprime crisis here, friend of CNBC. He's been saying this for years, and it hasn't played out necessarily the way that he had thought.
Or the way that I thought.
Because, and to be fair to both of you, I mean, here's the thing. The Chinese economy, if you believe what you're saying, is sort of, you know, not fake, but certainly has its weaknesses here or there. They can do that. They can go on like this for a long time, can they not?
Well, certainly.
They can play that role for as long as they want to, or the global markets let them.
Yeah. They control markets, they control banks, they control the courts, borrowers and lenders, everything. And that works for a very long time, certainly a lot longer than I thought. But the point is, they're going to lose confidence. We saw that in 2015, 2016, where each year you had more than $1 trillion of net capital outflow. The only reason why they stabilized it last year was because they went to draconian capital controls, many of them unannounced. You can do that for a little while, but right now you got President Trump. For the first time in 4 decades, an American president is not being solicitous of the Chinese. He's taking actions which either ignore the Chinese interests or are detrimental to China.